Is this a good angle, by the way? Is
You
this
don't have a
okay?
bad one, first of all. So we're
No,
gonna
exactly.
we should be live.
I my laptop is sitting on top of a sewing kit and there's a lamp right above it. So my setup
Grade
is
A
like
professional is what I heard.
bare
Yep,
minimum.
that's what I
It's
heard.
you know what? Let's call it creative.
Exactly.
That's what it
Exactly.
is.
You're a
It's
doer.
creative.
You get it done.
Yeah.
So we're live on Twitch. I have to re-log in to get us live on Facebook because
Yeah, hopefully people in on my timeline will see my little post that I updated them on about the
yes,
time.
no, you're fine. We
Juan, are you seeing the same thing on Twitch? I'm seeing art still. How does that
he's
happen?
everywhere.
Art
My
still?
brother was on the show last week, and
We're seeing him, not you.
hold on.
No, it's me.
Yes.
I'm Art.
Yes.
I knew
it. I knew it.
I just look a lot different now.
There we go.
It's a way for me to get back onto your guys' channel.
Boom.
I wanted to talk some more, but you wouldn't
Nope,
invite me back.
I see two
No,
wands
I
now.
fixed it. Now you see the right thing. You see Allie, you see me, and now we can officially start. Like we're already live, so all of this is live. That's the beauty of it.
We're live
we've been
right now.
Huzzah.
The magic of
I don't
entertainment.
believe you.
Yeah, we're
Okay.
good. I'm just making sure I have the. I'm trying to open chat up to make sure I can see anybody's comments.
There we
Yeah,
go.
we figured it out.
Trying to cover up my
You're
cowlick.
Catholic.
I was lagging.
I'm glad I'm wearing headphones because my
cowlick.
hair was like not even ready.
I got
for
a
the
mad
show.
cowlick.
I don't have that
And it's
problem.
growing out.
No, Trey. Why all the hair
I
product in your
know.
bathroom then? You have an obscene amount of hair product.
Motivation.
Is that what it is?
Motivation.
Inspiration.
Yep. One day I'm going to use these again.
Oh, so it's like my shirts
Hey.
that are 2 sizes too small on the left side that I keep. It's like
Exactly.
one day
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm gonna bring back.
Maybe he is using it.
True.
Maybe he's still
Just
using it, just not on his
moisturizing his
head.
scalp, keeping it nice, supple, and soft.
Maybe he's using it on
Oh
other hair.
yeah, I
On
didn't
my
even think
back
about it. Your back hair was
Maybe
always
he's
soft.
still using them.
I'm just saying.
Oh yeah, the back. That's
Oh
that's the
yeah,
one
because
was
when I
thinking.
hug
Yeah.
him, his back hair is probably his ass hair too. But I can only speak to his back, but it is soft. It is immaculate because we usually hug with the
Yeah.
shirt off because it's what guys do.
That's the only way, skin to skin.
We're very big on skin to skin. So
Yep.
It's a way for you guys to be
we
more
have to
intimate
connect.
with each other.
As friends, I like to
Exactly.
connect with my
Can't-
friends. Shirtless hugs only.
Doesn't feel real
Yeah,
if we don't do it that
feels
way.
awkward.
Look,
There's
there
like a
you go.
barrier of clothing in between us, and I don't get to feel the real him. You know, I want to feel
hate
his
it.
heartbeat next to mine. Yeah, so this is it, folks. People are starting to come in. Welcome everybody to Con Culture Podcast. We have a very special guest this week, who actually
Hello.
attended the con we weren't able to go to. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about some news of the week.
That's
but
right.
we're gonna first and most of all, who's calling me a liar? People in the comments. Yo, what up? Dante's in there. Jovan lies. Juan, I never lie. I never
Oh,
lie.
jeez.
So
Lie about
I
what?
think
a
he's
lie.
saying I'm lying about the shirtless hugs. I'll prove it, little man. I'll prove it.
Yeah. We'll go live on another chat. with
Yes,
that
that's
one,
on the podcast OnlyFans that we're starting up. It's me and Trey hugging all the time. That's his shirtless content. But yes, back to our guest. Welcome everybody. We have at artist 12325. We are
me.
going to get to know the origin of that handle first of all because I love it, and
Oh yeah, it's
just
pretty
the
deep.
origin of you as a creative, you as a cosplayer, you as an artist. So why don't we start off with artist? We'll go with that one. So how did you get into doing art, and what struck that passion and took you down that creative path?
I've been doing art since I was a kid, just like any kid that practices drawing. I think I really started practicing around age 11. Before that, it was just doodles in class and all that stuff. But I mean, over time, I would get commissions and I would do it. I think as it starts for any artist, as self gratification. You draw to see the things that don't exist, be it super petty fandom ships or
Yes.
things that don't exist, just basically, and you want to see it in front of your eyes, so you make it
Yes.
happen. And over time, I'm just like, I kind of want to look at it. So I should probably get better at this.
Yo, I can't make out who exactly is in this ship I made.
Yeah. So, I mean, over time, you
Mhm.
practice it. Definitely with digital art, that's a different animal than
Yes.
traditional. Especially just because different softwares, you're not sure what to start out with. I had a super crappy old Wacom thing that would connect to my computer, and the lag was so far behind. But now I use an iPad Pro
Ooh.
with Procreate, and it's like drawn on paper. It's
It
amazing.
really is. Do you have a
Um,
paper like or matte cover on your screen? You need
I
to.
don't.
You
I
you
just
think
just
because it's
just
like
raw dog
glass.
it.
It feels kind of glassy when you do just straight on the iPad screen. If you get a paper like cover for your iPad
Yeah.
Pro,
Uh,
it gets a slight
yeah. I'd
drag
like a
to it.
Kindle or something.
Oh man, it feels
Hmm.
so much like paper. There's no lag on it, and you get a
I
little drag
bet.
resistance
Yeah.
friction going. Oh,
Yeah. I've gotten used to using the glass thing. I have a coworker who has a
mhm.
tablet that's like has that paper
Yes.
mat on it, and it looks very satisfying. I don't know if I'd be able to adjust immediately. That would probably take
I think
a
if you could
second.
do it on paper, it's actually closer to being able to draw on paper. So you, as talented as
Hmm.
you are, you could probably take it like a fish to water. Especially if you did the Wacom, because that one's hard. Where you like looking at the screen, but your hands down here, so you're like,
I drew that
Yeah.
stroke 3 minutes ago.
Yeah. And I had a yeah, yeah, and and oddly enough, I would still get commissions even when I had the poor uh software. It was like a free
yeah.
software. I forget which one it was, but the lag was so far behind. Using the iPad just really helped it. It was like just it cut the time in half. Definitely helped my back because I was hunched over all the time. I mean, any artist can relate to that. I mean, you're hunched over for so long, your eyes are burning, it feels like you're staring at the sun.
I'm
That
So,
like an
happened.
infant in my digital art right now because I just got my iPad and I'm just starting to kind of do it.
yeah.
And I
Oh,
had
fun.
no idea. I really had no like people don't know how long a piece takes. Just a simple illustration,
Yeah,
line work,
yeah,
sketching.
it also it's person to person. I mean, some people would take some people 10 hours might take another person 3 days, what might take another person an hour. It's just like your
Yeah,
skill set.
I think
With me, it's hard to even tell. I don't even compare. I'm just like, I mean, if I tell people a certain amount of time, I'm like, yeah, this took me 7 hours, this took me 4 hours, and they're either like, wow, I can't believe you drew that long, or wow, that it seems like it should have taken a lot longer
yeah,
than
that's
that.
so awesome.
And it's like,
So Procreate lets
yeah,
you take
the
advantage of
great,
the layers
yeah.
and you get to shade
Hmm.
better. You get all kinds of brushes. Have you gone down the rabbit hole of getting new brushes and other types of things?
I've gotten some new brushes. I've gotten some textured brushes. You either buy them on Etsy or sometimes you'll get an ad for it, which I'm sure I will
Yes,
now
we
on
said it out
They're,
Instagram.
loud.
they're
We said
listening
it
to
out loud.
us.
I got my phone right next to me, so I probably will get an
Yeah.
ad now. Um, yeah, you'll either get that or um, I think I've just gotten a couple of sets. I got a comic book set where the texture mimics marker. But really, again, it's up to the artist. I mean, you can give any person tools, but it's up to the person who's using the tools to actually use them in a way that's going to benefit their art and to actually make something
Yeah.
worthwhile. Because I mean, I could give anybody oils and paint. I mean, you could give me oils and paint. I don't know what the hell to do with it because I never learned oils.
Yeah.
So I mean, you could give me the most high grade professional oil kit, and I'd be like, "What the hell do I do with this?" Um,
It's like I
but
had water,
yeah,
right?
no, actually, you have to add a medium of like oil or something, and then the cleanup is toxic. So I never learned how to
Yeah.
do that. So digital art is great for that purpose as well, is that you don't have to keep revisiting the art store, although you should. You should. Yeah, there's my cowlick. Although you should support local art
Oh
stores, like
yeah.
if you're in LA, Blick, that's a local art store. I worked there at one point. Um, but that's the great thing about digital art is because your palette's right there, your brushes are right there, and you don't have to clean up. You don't have to wash your
How much do
brushes.
you love the undo
You don't
button?
have to. Oh my god, I forget it's not there in real life. I'm drawing on a piece of paper. I'll draw on a piece of paper and I'll double tap the paper. I'm like, shit. I can't undo on my paper. Or you ever try to zoom in on a piece of paper? That's a reality check. That's a splash. That's a cold splash
That's a
of
thing
water.
I did not do before
Like,
I got my iPad. Now I'm like, oh shit, it's not touchscreen.
This is a book.
Well, I'll doodle on a paper at work, and then I'll be like, I can't really see the detail, and I'll
You
try
just
to
ink smudge your
I'm like,
hand because you just.
I'm like, so someone's like, what are you doing? I'm just like, I just want to see the size of the drawing. That's all. I'm just comparing
manual
it.
zoom. Just hold it up to your face.
I'm just pinching the paper. It's an artist
thing.
I
did a doodle. I tried to erase it, and then like I broke the paper. I was like, oh great, cool. Get to start all over now.
Yeah, it's an artist thing. We pinch the piece of paper
when
we draw.
know.
It's for good luck. You wouldn't understand.
You have to be in.
You wouldn't understand.
I love it. You just roll with it. So that's awesome. So
yeah, I do like doodling on paper though. There's a different satisfaction that comes to drawing traditionally.
You've gotten commissions from your art. You're obviously comfortable doing it, sharing it. What kind of plans do you have for the future? Are you planning to maybe do a booth at a con? Maybe get a site for your art, have its own page or a website? What kind of plans do you have?
I mean, I actually did start a website in the year 2020. I just put some fan art there. I made it on Wix, not sponsored. I put it out on Wix and I made a website through there. And again, that's just a tool. I mean, if it looks shitty, then it's like, you can't really blame the website. You know, that's kind of you. That's kind of up to you. But I mean, I put my art out there, and just like any artist, you know, it's a struggle to get it seen and to get it noticed. And then, you know, you could have a huge following on TikTok, or you can have a huge following on Instagram, and if something flops, then it flops. And, you know, it's just, that's your audience. And sometimes you just got to accept that you made it for you and you made it for yourself. Absolutely. Like I made a human version of Elmo from Sesame Street, and that got.
She got this whole series of like.
I saw the robot. Like, I saw the robot turn human.
Well, I say that one because you guys use that for your promo pic on Instagram. But that one, I mean, I'm super proud of that one. It's came out super cute. His puppeteer is a black man, so I figured he'd probably be a small boy who is black as well. So I gave him big red curly hair and a red
Love
fluffy
the orange
coat.
nose at the top.
Yes, I incorporated his Elmo's facial features into the hat, and I love it. I think it looks amazing. I think it got like 12 likes or something on Instagram, but I'm super inconsistent, and that's the thing. It's like you could be a super beginner artist, but if you're consistent enough, if you post consistently enough, you're going to see a following start to happen because people want to see content. They might roast you, they might not like your art, whatever. I mean, that's the risk you take by putting your stuff out there.
But everybody's a critic.
Oh yeah, and most of the time we're our own worst critic.
Yeah.
And it's like you put your stuff out there and people see that you're giving them content to fill up their feed. And that's where the sort of line is. It's hard to walk because you give them too much and you're spamming their feed. You don't give them enough and the algorithm doesn't show you as much. So it's a hard line to walk that I don't know how to walk. Just mostly
you don't want to burn yourself out either, and it's like then it's not fun anymore.
Yeah, and it's art for me, like casually, has been when I feel the itch, and any other time it's like you don't feel very inspired to do it. So it is hard to get that wheel turning of like sometimes you crank out a piece of art every day for a week, and then you don't feel like drawing for a month. And
it's normal human emotions.
I mean,
like you're infusing your art with emotion, so you can't just like rabbit out of the hat. Now, there is something, like you said, to be said for having the discipline to put a piece out every week. Just draw for the sake of consistency and building that following. I think if you aren't as talented,
and if that's something you want to do, then
You, on the other hand, you're there already, so you can definitely go by feel.
Thank you. I mean, look, there's always going to be someone better than you. There's always going to be someone worse than you. But then at the end of the day, it's like, what is better? What is better in art? You know, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Absolutely. So, I mean, you could show me a piece of art on DeviantArt or whatever. I'm dating myself right now.
On what?
You could show me a piece
on MySpace?
on what was that one? AI?
Yes.
I mean, AOL.
Way back.
I'm going to ask James about that real quick.
I'm like, you could show me a piece of art there,
Yeah.
and I could say that's really bad, and then someone next to me could be like, that's my favorite piece of
Yes.
art. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's so hard to. I mean, there are certain things that you can fundamentally judge, like anatomy or the color schemes of things or color
Yes.
theory. There are things you can criticize about that, of like, oh, this shadow doesn't work because
It's
these two
totally bouncing the
colors.
wrong way.
But also, yeah, so there is skill
Yes.
to be learned. But even if you're starting out and it doesn't look like you want it to, there's still someone out there going to be like, "Wow, I don't ever see fan art of Megamind
Yes.
or something." And it's like, I'm so glad there's at least something out there because now I can see it and it's like in front of me. Whereas before, I Google it and
Yeah, I
nothing comes
think
up.
people just want to
And
know
it's a
they're not
bummer.
alone in their interest,
Yeah.
in their
Dead
fandoms.
fandoms.
Exactly. People want to know they're not alone. So if you're
Hmm.
true to you, you're putting out stuff that you love
Yeah.
for you. When it resonates, it's going to be that much easier to maintain.
You'll
Yeah, you're
find your
not
own tribe.
manufacturing an
Yeah.
image with your art. You're putting out things that
Hmm.
interest you, things that you love. So when it does hit and it does resonate, it's going to be a lot easier to maintain and keep up with it. I think that's a
Yeah.
super smart thing. Now, you done art, but
And
that's not the only thing you
yeah.
do. Cosplay, you also cosplay.
Yes.
Give us your cosplay
Yes.
origin. How did you get into that?
I always wanted to do cosplay, and it's just I was in high school in like 2013 to 2016,
Mm-hmm.
2012 or so. So like social media like Instagram was it was there, but it wasn't like getting information spread around wasn't as easy. So if I wanted to, oh, where did cons happen? Like anybody I asked at school would be like, oh, they tell me about San Diego Comic Con where it's like, oh, it's a lottery, you can't get the
Yeah.
ticket, whatever. And I'm like, well, I guess I just can't.
I guess they don't
And
exist.
I guess it's a myth. I guess it's just word of mouth. It's a
It's a
It's a
wives'
cool kids
tale.
unicorn.
club, and I'm not invited.
Yeah. No, but I started out by going to local conventions. We have one in my town, and it's small, and it happened at a college. But I was so thrilled to actually be there. It was when Deadpool was like really
Yes.
hot, and he was like one of the first superheroes to actually be
Yes.
funny and like routinely funny and not take himself so seriously. And everyone just latched onto him immediately. And he was like the hot shit. He was the
You'd have a
thing.
line of Deadpool
So,
cosplayers just all around the floor.
what do
You've
you
never
mean?
seen the conga lines of Deadpools, and they just literally like
Oh no,
all the way around the con.
I thought you meant in the comment section
Oh
on
no
Twitch
no
or something.
no no! Because I know
I
when
was like,
Deadpool
where?
happened at cons, you couldn't like throw a rock
Mm-hmm.
without hitting a Deadpool cosplayer.
Exactly. I was
Everywhere.
just gonna use that analogy. That's perfect.
They were
Yeah. Yeah, they were everywhere. And now the big thing is like
oh
Spider-Man. I bet it's always been
yes
Spider-Man. Because it's
yes
easy. Because
It's like
Spider-Man just walks around.
Spider-Man, Harley Quinn, Deadpool,
Yeah.
like
yeah.
everywhere.
Those are
Those are
like
your
the three main
staples.
ones. I see. Yeah, funny enough, I actually saw a lot of Patrick Stars with the fishnet legs and
Yes
Yes.
the
yes.
hooker boots, the
Them
hooker
hooker
heels.
heels.
Um, I saw that like probably 5 times at
You
the
had to scrub your
convention. I
eyeballs
saw
after,
so.
but you saw it.
I was like, everyone had the same idea to be sexy Patrick. That's so
Oh,
funny.
they
Like,
should have went with a
yes.
handsome
So
Squidward.
that's
That
how
would
I
have been so
started.
fun.
I have seen a handsome
Oh,
Squidward. I
that,
have seen that.
So is that your first convention, the one at the college?
Yeah, that was in
what did you cosplay?
2015. Uh, I was
Oh,
Deadpool.
nice.
Nice.
So you were right in the line
Yes.
with all the other
And
ones.
yeah, and you know what? It's like sometimes you can have a really cheap, poorly made costume, but if your personality makes
That's it.
up for it, then it
Yep.
doesn't matter. Because I've
Yeah.
won a couple of cosplay competitions on I think it was best personality and then best
Performance.
like what is like notable mentions
Yes.
or something.
So
Yeah,
you had
so
the
it's like I
energy and you
actually at
really
one.
fulfilled the character. You played the
Well,
cosplay.
the thing about yeah, I mean the thing about Deadpool is a lot of people misunderstand is that you can't just be obnoxious. He's
Yes.
witty.
Yeah.
That's his thing. It's like you can go around and steal someone's hat or you can go around and be loud or steal something. I don't know. That's always the bit they want to
Yes.
do is like you take a hat or something. But it boils down to being quick. and being
Yes.
funny. And that's what Ryan Reynolds is, because he's himself in literally every role. So so he's a witty guy. He has a lot of dry humor, and that translates directly
Yeah.
into Deadpool, which is why he was so
Yes.
perfect for it. But people don't understand that the reason that works so well is because he is a maniacal serial killer. And that's the irony, that he is so funny, and he's like, actually, he doesn't take himself seriously, even though he's a pretty serious
Yes.
anti-hero. He can kill pretty easily, and he's a
There's
deadly
no
person.
qualms cutting heads
And
off.
exactly. And
He's the king of comebacks.
but people get so caught up in the fact that he's
Yeah.
funny, and the fact that that's all they focus on. I'm like,
It makes him one
no,
dimensional
he's like,
most of the time when people cosplay him.
he has become
Yeah.
one dimensional, as a lot of superheroes have
Yes.
become.
That
But that started my. It's been throughout the years. It's been a spotty sort of thing with cosplay, because I've made props, and it's so funny. I actually have. Well,
let us see.
this is a part of an Iron Man suit.
That was
this
my
is
next
the calf.
question.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I made an Iron Man suit out of EVA
Our
cosplay
buddy
foam.
Dante said that was actually a very profound take on Deadpool and superhero culture right now.
Yep.
I know. Thank you so much.
She's awesome, Dante.
Yeah. Thank you.
So tell us about
Yeah.
Iron Man. How long did that take you to do overall?
That didn't take me super long. I want to say maybe it took me a month, maybe 2 months.
That's awesome.
I don't know if that's a long time or a short amount
It's
of time.
long for me, because if I
Like
try
I
to craft
said.
an Iron Man suit,
Yeah.
I would have to start in 2020, and I'd still be working on it right now. And I might have the
Same.
helmet done.
Same.
To be fair, I mean, it doesn't breathe like a whole lot. So you put on a really tight black shirt
Yeah.
underneath, and it just keeps it in there. So, and it's hard to move. Like, there are some Iron Man outfits, and they're made out of fiber. They're made out of
Yeah.
fiberglass, and like some of them are actually like the suit from the movie,
Yeah.
and which Robert Downey Jr. doesn't even wear most of the
Yes.
time. Most of the time, it's a mocap suit. So even they don't always wear the costumes, but they move around like they are, or they move around like they're not, I should say.
Some of these 3D printed suits, like, they really, really customize, so there's like max articulation in them, and these cosplayers are really able to move in it. It's like, geez.
But then they still can't.
Oh yeah, no, you're gonna break your suit.
You can't.
You will snap that suit. I know, Trey. You got to have some cosplays that you can't sit down in.
Barely. Like, I try to make sure I can sit down every cosplay, because I run out of gas and I got to take a break.
I know. And I bet, you know what? I bet Wreck-It Ralph's one of your more comfortable ones, isn't it?
It is. It is.
Because it's just overalls. I did Wreck-It Ralph too.
Oh, nice.
I did. I made giant hands, and I put them on a chest strap.
Oh.
And what I wanted to do was extend the fingers and make them so they would move as my fingers would move, and they'd be like a real hand. But I had fishing line, and they would snap every time I bend the fist.
Oh,
so I ended up having to glue them shut and pin them shut. So they were just big fists. I'm like, if I was just going to do big fists, I could have made them look better than this. So I wanted to be accurate. And I made like a dress. And
hey, Trey did the dress one too.
Yeah, but
he did it.
Yes. that one's more comfortable than regular Ralph.
I'd imagine.
Oh, the Snow White one.
Yes.
No, this was before the second one came out. This was before Ralph Breaks the Internet came out. Yeah.
I don't know why. Still to this day,
piece,
they didn't name it Ralph Wrecks the Internet. Like, the title was there for itself.
I don't know.
Come on.
And you know what? To make a movie that is based on memes is such a money maker at the time, but it becomes dated within release date, because memes evolve day to day, and it's so hard to keep track of because Breaks the Internet, that was the Kim Kardashian thing with the thing on her butt. With the wine glass and the champagne on her butt, that lasted so little, and they just took that and ran with it. And it's like, why would you name your whole movie based off of a short trend? And then he was like flossing, which they still do.
That's still in films.
That is, I think that is the most corporate move to do, is to put someone flossing, because
I don't get the kids going.
That's years ago. That that was viral for
Yeah,
maybe a
Backpack Kid
year.
made a shit
And
ton of
that's
money
like,
off that.
I'm sure many people who are on TikTok like me get the show Bluey on their
Oh,
feed. I get the show Bluey all the damn time, and I
yes.
love it. I never skip it. I love Bluey, but there was one episode where the kids start flossing, and I'm like,
Stop it.
It's in Australia, so I'll give you a
what?
slight pass, but
Who's no, because they're a day ahead of us.
you're extra
So that doesn't
outdated.
make any sense.
Jeez.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys should know what's
Yeah,
happening
y'all should be
before.
hip to this trend, damn it.
You guys are a day in the future.
You're gonna
Shouldn't
be
you
a
know?
year ahead of us when 2023 rolls around. Act like it. Act like
Exactly.
it.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's certain things like even the format that they use for memes, like on SNL, they'll crank out the giant white text and the top text and the bottom text. Like that hasn't been a meme format since I
Yep.
was a kid. Like it's the picture, but then they set up the joke above the picture and on a white screen. That's the meme format. And they still haven't gotten the hold of that. They still haven't grasped onto that. That's like that's not the meme format anymore.
Wow. We got a spam first, an actual comment
Oh, we got a
and a
bot.
bot. Yeah. So
Nice.
Dante did say
What?
flossing needs to die. I agree with that, but somebody
Yes.
wants
It
to help.
does. It did die. It did die. And corporations are still
They're
trying to
riding
make it
that. They're
relevant, but
beating
it
that
died.
dead
But it,
It's
horse
but it,
dead.
like you wouldn't believe. But
It's
yeah, a
dead.
bot wants to help us with our followers and views for a very good price, lower than our
Oh,
competitor, their competitor. So
oh,
thank you,
oh. You should
very,
thank
click
you.
on it and
very
give them
nice.
your
I'm a Rumex J.
you should click on it and give them
Of
your credit card
course, I
information
need
right
that
now.
service, sir.
Give me a good
Yes,
discount
You
on the
should give
car.
them your
I'm
social,
giving him
your credit card, your
everything,
mother's maiden name.
everything, because I am vain and I
He
need the
wants to help.
followers. I
Yeah.
need to make affiliate. Damn it!
Yeah.
No, no, I think
We got to get
I think
verified somehow.
right.
Yeah.
That's how you do it, right? A random bot comes in and you pay him the money and you get your
Yeah,
check mark. Onward. I should have
exactly.
bought mine from Elon when he was still selling them.
Yeah. Yeah, Elon could have really used
Yeah,
your 10
yeah.
bucks,
That
man.
did not. That lasted a day. That did not go well. So
Yeah.
you've cosplayed at several cons. What was
Hmm.
so far the best con experience or the best con you've been to so far?
I always love WonderCon. WonderCon is a great con to go to. The venue is great. It's in Anaheim. It's right next
Mm,
to Disneyland. The area is pretty good. Whereas LA Comic Con, the Staples Center, it's not like in the best area. It's not terrible. The venue is pretty good because you can go from one building to the other without going outside. So that is a good safety feature of that venue. Um, I I think my first real con, like official, not a
mhm.
local con or a weekend blender at a mall, that was WonderCon. That was a game changer. That first one that I went to was in 2016, and I was 17 at the time, turning 18 in a few months from then, I believe. And I just was. It felt like I was at
That's awesome.
Disneyland because I had never been to an official con where there were so many people. You didn't know them because you go to local cons and they all know
Yeah.
who you are, and it's like, oh, hey, I'm like, no, I'm not Allie. I'm,
I'm Deadpool again, damn
I'm
it.
Iron Man.
Yeah.
I'm Deadpool. And then
Wade Wilson.
and just side note, everyone kept calling me Lady Deadpool. I didn't
Uh,
have a I didn't have a blonde ponytail. I have anything that indicated I was Lady Deadpool.
uh,
The only thing I had was
yeah.
boobs.
Oh,
And I was like,
oops,
no,
must be
guys,
Lady Deadpool.
I'm just
yeah.
yeah, I'm just like, no, I'm just regular Deadpool. I mean, it's not the best costume out there, but it's like I'm sure if I were to go around and tell people, oh, I'm Lady Deadpool, they'd be like, then where's your blonde hair?
You
I'm
can't
like,
win.
so
You can't
you just
win.
can't win.
You're either gender bending
Well, doesn't she
incorrectly
have a blonde?
or your cosplay is not
True.
good enough to pull off what you're trying to pull off. You can't
Those damn
win. You can't win
Exactly.
with these individuals.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, luckily, that's all in theory, usually. I haven't really come across any gatekeepers
Yeah.
quite yet. Because there's a lot of opportunity for creative expression in cosplay, especially with warping a character to what you want it to be. It can
Yep.
be anything. I saw so many characters, it's like they're iconic, but at a certain point, I'm just like, this could be someone from Outcry or whatever, like
Yep.
Fortnite, or it could be an actual character or that someone just flipped around and made their own. Because so many characters, it's you can only create the same character like so many times before the color scheme gets repeated, you know.
We always reference this former guest of ours. He says cosplay is your fan art.
True.
And like it's changed the game.
Oh man, Dante just said a comment. He's like, "Nope, you're Lady Deadpool." Kind of like him when he cosplays Cable. People just say he's Bishop.
Yeah.
Like they don't get the X-Men right. You're whoever they think you are, not who you set out to cosplay.
Oh. Well, luckily I do not know Dante, so that opinion does not hold much water.
He's great. He's saying that people mistake his cosplay as well, and they're convinced they're right, even though you built it. You know what you put, and probably because you know I'm black.
And a simple mistake is fine. Yes. I mean, I've certainly done it. I'm like, oh, you're this character. And I'm like, no, I'm not.
Have you gotten the Spider-Man as Deadpool
I'm just like,
yet? Oh, no. Man. My wife was in a Lego Deadpool
because
suit,
again.
And this lady was like, look, it's Spider-Man.
That was a mom.
It was totally
that was
a
mom who never heard of. That was a mom who never heard of Deadpool. Because that's so much for a mom to know, especially at the time, because Deadpool before that was a comic book. And he wasn't like Spider-Man where they've made 18 movies with 3 different actors, you know? So it's not like Deadpool was an established actor like, you know, the Green Lantern or the Fantastic Four where they've been done over and over again. So that was another thing I think that made it appealing, was that he was this character which was Ryan Reynolds, witty, funny, and he was introduced into the world. You know, he was thrust
fresh
upon
when the X-Men universe needed something fresh, and the fact that a leak made it happen is even more chef's kiss. Yeah, it was an internet leak, and people were like, "Where the f is this movie? I need that movie." And then it was the largest grossing rated R movie. It beat Passion of the Christ. I remember he tweeted, "Take that, Jesus." Again, being witty yet charming, not disrespectful, not rude, witty and charming. He does that so well. So WonderCon, amazing con. I've heard nothing but great things about it. But you did mention
on my bucket list.
You did mention LA Comic Con. So how did that one go this past weekend? Because we were invited. Trey and I got invited. Press passes, full red carpet. Oh yeah, we got press access to LA Comic Con, but we weren't able to get out there. Unfortunately,
Why?
My wallet said no.
I didn't want to out you like that.
You didn't have to buy. I mean, you didn't have to buy the tickets.
I didn't want to out you like that, man. But
no.
Budgetary constraints.
Look, we all have things we got to take care of. Sometimes you've gone to so many. I mean, what's one? You know?
Yeah, it would have been like your 8th one this year, Trey. So you're being greedy.
Yeah, I mean, it's one. Right. And you go to so many that, I mean, I can't go to because it's far for me. So, I mean, for you to go from Texas to California, I mean, that's quite a trek. So
I'm always up for
sure.
Yeah, I mean, that's no easy travel. I mean, for me to go there, it takes, you know, I live in California, so it was right there. I mean, not right there, but
fair enough.
Yeah. When you live in California, anyone who lives in California, if it says the word C, if it has the initial CA after it, you're like, let's go, because it's here. Even though legitimately it's probably like up north, Oregon, down south, Mexico. So, I mean, it's might as well not even be the same state, but because it's within the confines of California, everyone's like,
we could get there in a day.
Imagine Dragons is going to be in San Francisco and I live in San Diego. Sure, perfect. Let's go today. Let's make a day trip out of it.
Texas is very much the same. We go to cons in Dallas, and that's about 4 or 5 hours away. You can drive 8 hours straight and still be in Texas. So we definitely,
exactly.
Same for California. Definitely know that vibe, and you just make a day out of it. You go, you stay for the weekend, and you.
Yeah, and what's even better is, you know, most of the time, if you live in California, you're so, you know, you find someone who lives in that general vicinity, and you're like, hey, I'll be down there for the weekend. Do you mind if I just crash with you for a couple of days? And it really helps.
I'm glad you said that.
So I mean,
because we're coming to California and we needed somewhere to stay. So
in my bed.
I didn't want to throw it out there, but if you're comfortable with me and Trey just kind of
We
booting
were
you to
gonna
the
have something
couch,
like Starface style with us on both
Yeah.
yes, we were
sides.
gonna make you a Dan
Yeah. We'll be
Brazilian,
bosom
and you were
buddies.
gonna just be holding us both and keeping us safe
Yeah. We'll be.
from the scary California
Yeah. We'll
outdoors.
be three musketeers.
No, so
We've been trying really hard to get out of state, go to new cons we haven't
yes,
gone to before. So it stinged a little bit because we really wanted to go, especially getting the
yeah,
invite and
they were
everything,
super
and
sweet,
it was a
Yeah.
but
Yeah. That's really cool that they invited you. I mean, I'm not an established cosplayer, so that's not a thing that's on my horizon is to just be
well,
invited.
I wish Trey had told me
Um,
you were in the area. Had we known sooner when we weren't able to make it, I was like, would she be like down to be a correspondent and we can like get her a press pass and get her into like shows on the
oh,
West Coast?
that would have been
again
great.
peak communication
Yeah,
skills
Trey
over here.
is
But you know what
really good
though?
at getting the message to you.
Yeah, right.
But you know what? I bought the tickets so
Ah,
long ago. I bought the early bird passes. I bought them months
ah.
ago. So it's not even a thing. It's like even if you did get it, I did the like Klarna or whatever.
Oh,
You pay
that
like
is
$24 every
addicting.
month or something.
That is addicting.
Yeah. I mean I could have shot it
Yeah,
all in one go, but I was
why
like,
do that
well,
to yourself?
it would just make it would be like nicer to see it on my bank, like my transcript or whatever, my
Yes.
bank statement, if it was just like, oh, I got paid and then I did it and then I got paid and then I did it. It would just like in my conscience, it would make
Yeah,
me
because
feel
then
better.
you're sure you have gas money as opposed to rolling the dice.
I mean, I try to be pretty good at saving my money,
That's
so honestly, that's never a
that's
stress for
so
me
awesome to hear.
because I keep I keep my bank account pretty
Same.
loaded.
I actually it was COVID that got me in that
I'm
habit.
rich.
But yeah, I
I,
keep mine fairly stacked now.
Yeah.
Good
yeah,
good to
But
know
I don't have
I
that
mean,
I'm
of
problem.
course,
amongst fellow wealthy individuals.
I'm being
Yes.
facetious, but I mean, it all boils down to being cheap versus
Yes.
being frivolous. And I think it's frivolous. It's like being frivolous, if I'm using the word correctly, it's not buying things that you don't need. Um, but being cheap is not spending money on the things that you do need. So if you need good medication, if you need a good pair of glasses, like prescription seeing glasses. Like take me for instance, I should have gone to a good place instead of Stanton Optical. Shout out.
Not sponsored.
That
No, not
that was a
sponsored.
cheap move
Yeah.
for me. I mean, it wasn't cheap necessarily, but it
Yeah.
was quick. And I was having headaches at the time and I was like, I need a pair of glasses ASAP. So they were able to get me, but then I got a
Yeah.
crap.
You got what you got.
So, you know, you get what you
Yes.
pay for. And that's what being
Mhm.
frivolous is all about. It's not spending money on things that you don't need
Yes.
all the time. Just spend within your means. I mean, even if you don't need it, just spend
So
within your
you spent
means.
your money
You
on
know,
your LA
if
Comic Con ticket. Was it worth your money?
Is it
How
worth
did
it?
you enjoy
Yep.
the show?
if I were to do it again, I might only buy a Saturday pass, and I just buying a 3-day pass. It's just the Friday was so uneventful. Nothing
Mm.
happened.
Saturday's
It's
always the
Oh
day.
yeah.
doors opened at 4 p.m.
I don't know why cons keep doing
I
that.
didn't.
Why do you have a
I don't
Friday
know
when it's like from 4 to 7 or 4 to 9 and like we're
exactly.
not getting off work wanting to get ready and go do that. You're not gonna get super great
Yeah, I mean, I
attendance.
gave myself a day to get there. Yeah, you're not. And
Mhm.
that's what happened. I mean, I saw like 1% of people even
Yeah.
dressed up, and mine was very casual. I was Wendy Corduroy from Gravity Falls. It was super just like put on. The worst part was the wig because it gave me a headache because I've got a large head. So it
Same.
was squeezing my
Same,
head.
same.
Yeah. I was like a squeezed little grape inside of that thing. So by the end of it, I had a big headache. And
It's
I
the
was just
best
like,
feeling in the world, taking the week off at
Oh
the end of the
man,
day.
seeing Trey take off his
I mean,
prosthetics, I'm always like, he's like,
yeah,
oh yeah. I'm like, whoa, you all right,
I
bro?
can
yeah,
breathe now. I can speak now.
It looks so satisfying and
yeah.
disturbing at the same time.
But to circle back to the question, I might have only bought
Hmm.
the Saturday. But you know what though? I had a great day on Sunday, which isn't super common at conventions. Usually the big day is
Yes.
Saturday. That's when all the guests are coming. that's when all the people bring their A game in cosplay. That's it's like even if they don't, I mean, the majority of people dress up regardless of the quality or how much time or
Yeah.
whatever. I mean, at least they're dressed up, and you're not walking around in a costume being the only one
How were
out
the
there.
cosplays in
And
on Saturday? How did you like all the
on
cosplays?
it was a pretty low bar to start with. So I mean, if you're going from nothing to
Yeah.
any cosplay, I mean, it's going to be amazing. So I mean, it was great. Friday I went, nobody really even knew. I mean, some people knew
Mhm.
who I was, but I think I was kind of standoffish with my energy because most of the booths just were not interested in being there at
Yeah.
the time. Like no one had that
We're
energy. I
here
got
because we
a
have to
Mai
be.
Tai from yeah, I got a Mai Tai from this little drink thing. If you've ever gone to LA Comic Con, there's like two little stands right next to the cafe in I think the South Hall or the West Hall. And I was like, "Hi, you know, what are these drinks?" And she's just on her phone playing music, doing whatever she wanted, just chilling. And I was just like, "Look, when I'm at my job, I got to be there, you know?
Oh yeah. Sell me
At
a
least
drink.
just at least just don't even you don't even have to sell it. You could be like, "This is shit, but this is what it is."
Just a
That's all I wanted to
description.
know because I've never it was a margarita in a can. I'd
Oh
never
wow.
seen a margarita in a can before. Who puts a margarita in a
Welcome
can?
to the
That's
future.
There was like
blasphemous.
and it was and it said tequila margarita. I'm like, that's very vague. I mean, what else is going to
Yeah.
be in there? You know? And like what makes this a margarita? Is this just tequila? What is this? What is it? And so I got a Mai Tai in a can after some light suggestions. And I just walked around with a stupid Mai Tai. And I'm like, this is what Wendy Corduroy would do if she was 24. She'd walk around a convention with a Mai Tai inside of a can and just like nod at people and not really want to talk to anybody. So I was super not social
On the first day,
on the
but on
Friday.
Saturday.
It took some breaking
Mm.
in because my expectations were super
Ah.
low. Um, Saturday was great. I loved Saturday. I got to see uh, there were people who took the main
Mhm.
stage, but there were a lot of artists and booths there as well. Which I appreciate about this con that they didn't make all the autographs exclusive. Whereas I felt like last year when I went to LA Comic Con, the autographs were very exclusive. Like they wouldn't let you in unless you for sure had a pass to go get an autograph from Tom Kenny
Wow.
or or whoever was there.
Like you're not even allowed to breathe the same air
Benedict
because you don't got a pass.
Sometimes
Benedict
you just want to
Wong.
say
Benedict Wong is
hi.
amazing.
That happened to me actually. Last year, Ron Perlman, the original
Yes.
Hellboy, and 18 other things because I'm IMDb in my brain. I could tell you whatever else he's in. Um,
The Quest for
he
Fire guy.
he was Death in Book of Life. He was the teacher in Danny Phantom. He's done some voice acting. So, but regardless, he was there, and he didn't really want to be there. It was just like it felt like this was kind of beneath him. Like he felt like he was reaching the end of his career, like
Oh,
the end of his
I've
rope.
had celebs do
You
that.
know,
The Red Ranger.
Yeah.
he had that energy. Yeah, they had that energy of like, God, I can't believe this is what I'm reduced to going to a
Yes.
con and signing autographs. I'm like, dog, these are the what where you do you realize what being famous is? It's a lot of people
Yeah.
that know who you are. These are
These
those
people
people.
bought your
Yes,
boat.
exactly. They're the
Yeah,
reason you even
these
get
are
a
those
shot at a
people
movie.
that yeah, this is why
Yes.
you're famous because people know who
Yeah.
you are.
Benedict Wong was nothing like that.
I
I
oh,
loved
of
him.
course.
He
He
was
seemed
so
nice.
sweet.
I didn't meet him, but he
Yeah.
was there. No, it was just like it was this energy of just like I mean, the pictures at LA Comic Con are so half-assed. They just you hand them your phone and they take a
Oh,
picture
so
with
it's a
your
table
phone,
selfies.
and they
Gotcha.
don't even get out from behind the table. They just go
Oh, they stay behind?
from behind the table.
That's
Oh.
that's too much effort to stand up and
They stay
Oh,
behind the
yeah. No,
table.
the con we have here, the superhero car show, they do table selfies, but they come
Yeah,
around the table, they give you a
yeah,
little hug, they take the selfie, they make sure you're good with it. If you like it, if
yeah,
not, we can retake it.
yeah.
And of course, it depends on the
Better
celebrity. Yeah,
$95.
it depends on the celebrity you're getting,
They're not
but
cheap. Elijah Wood was $95.
whew,
that's
Yeah, Sean
professional.
Astin, he
that's
was
pretty
85,
affordable. The
which is
one
a little
we
insulting.
got Anthony Mackie and Benedict Wong in a private meet and greet because the owner
Oh,
just as a gift to me and 10 friends. He told me to find 10 friends. He was gonna let us go to that.
It's like,
Yeah, it's like, do you have 10
friends?
friends? I was like, fuck you, I got 10 friends.
I was I was figuring out a way to
Yeah,
make that
yeah.
joke. I
Being
couldn't
being
though.
a
I was
being
feeling it.
friends with an owner
Uh,
of a con has its perks. So we got to meet both Anthony Mackie and Benedict Wong in like a $400 private meet and greet with only 40 people. It was super exclusive. So we got to take photos, custom autographs.
wow.
They were the nicest guys. They had none of that, oh, we're here energy. It was all like, hey, Benedict Wong was playing music in his little
It was
speaker.
like, we're
It's like,
here
yeah, it was
energy.
very much so like, we're here at,
Let's have some
they
fun.
had we had a blast. So yeah.
That comes down to the runners
Mhm.
of it, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and you know what? Sometimes certain people, be it their status or whatever status level, A, B, C, D lister celebrities, I mean, some just have the energy that they don't want to be there, and some will, like
yes.
Tom Kenny, he was there. I stood in line for 3 hours to meet that guy, that angel from
Oh.
heaven. And when I finally got there, my God, it was like he just sat down.
Isn't it
You
awesome
know,
when
it
they
was
have that
it,
energy and you're
I,
so anxious and it pays off?
he is so sweet, and he just smiles at everybody. And this thing I think about iconic voice actors, like the voice actor for
Yes.
Super Mario and the voice actor
Oh,
for
Chris Pratt?
SpongeBob, is that
Okay. Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
who else? Um, they just get stuck in this loop where they've been doing the same voice for so long that I think it just happens like without them knowing. I think it's just instinct at
Mhm.
this point. When he does the laugh, he would just do that laugh all the
That's
time.
awesome.
Um, he would do it for people, and it's like when I met him, it was just so great. And I'm sorry I keep touching on last year, but you know,
You have fond memories of it,
he was
and
just
you do. That's what cons
yeah,
are supposed to do, is convey those magical moments where you're like, man, remember that year we met so and
oh
so.
yeah,
I'm glad
yeah,
we've been fortunate enough to get so many different people. I met Tom
yeah.
Hiddleston, like I said, Benedict Wong, Jason
Mm,
Momoa, Ben Affleck was our first year at that con that we got to meet. Yeah,
really,
he
Jason Momoa
I
is
met
like
him
a cool
twice.
guy.
Both of the times he was amazing. Not only did we get the photo shoot, he
You gotta wonder
Wow.
though, like, did the case of Guinness help with that
yes,
though?
he does have Guinness on tap at the con. Like the staff is taking him 12 packs of Guinness regularly. So he is drinking, he's loving it, he's feeling good. Our former
Yeah.
co-host, one of the creators of the podcast with me, we were in line and we get in his little photo tent and he's she was like dressed like a Dothraki warrior in cosplay and she was like low cut, really
Oh.
really seductive. And he's like, "Oh
Mm.
wow." Kind of grabs her, pulls her
Oh.
in tight and
Oh.
then
Shut the
growls
fuck
in
up.
her ear for the photo.
I'm not even a Jason
I
Momoa girl,
slipped.
but
I slipped
shit.
when it was my turn cuz it was her face in the photo came out
Did
like
he also pull you in?
I was like, here's
Did
the
he also?
beauty of it. I told him I want one of those photos. He's like, "Oh, you can get one, big guy. Get
Mhm.
in here." And he had this awesome fun energy.
And he
Oh,
pulled you
he
in and growled in your
100%
ear.
growled in my ear, and I was laughing. It
Gonna-
was awesome. It was a cool bro moment. He was just so cool. Then we got to meet him
Oh yeah,
again.
sure. Yeah, a
Yeah,
bro
yeah. Don't ask me where my hand was in the photo,
moment.
but but we meet him again the
I
next
don't
year.
have to,
You know
'cause I know
exactly
where.
where. It was warm and it was supple. It was
Mm-hmm.
nestled right in his back pocket.
Mm.
But we meet him the next year. He's even
Oh, in his
cooler
pocket.
the next year because it's
What? Did he remember
he
you?
did not remember me, but it was like he had met
Oh.
hundreds of people. The cool thing though was it was the Marines' birthday.
True.
It was the Marines have their birthday in
Yeah.
November. The event was on the birthday of the Marines. We had one of our friends who's a cosplayer cosplaying Superman, and he's a Marine, and he's like, "Yo, you think we
Oh,
could get
wow,
Jason
perfect.
Momoa to like shoot a happy birthday message for the Marines to kind of tell?"
Ew.
And his
And if he doesn't, then he hates
pretty
America.
much, and
So,
they pitched it
win-win.
to him,
Yeah.
and he was like, "Yeah, man, of course." So he was super humble. He hugged the Superman guy. He did the video with him, and he's like wished all the
Aw.
Marines a happy birthday. Gave my friend a big smack on the chest, and afterwards thanked him for his service, and was just a super cool guy. And he was
Aw.
about to be on stage. Like his panel was up, and he was like hold on, this is
Yeah.
important. I want to do this. And then he went on to go do his panel.
Hmm.
So, yes, if you get a chance to meet Jason
Wow.
Momoa, he's worth
See, you get all the
everything.
Yeah.
cool celebrity interactions. I get all the
Oh,
awkward
man.
ones.
Trey, do you have some stories about your celeb
It's
interactions? Your
awful.
faces. Dolph
We
Lundgren?
can talk about that later,
Yeah, we'll
though.
talk about it later. We don't
Oh
want to
my
clog up the
god.
show.
No,
But ask Trey about
no,
meeting Dolph
no.
Lundgren. It's
Oh.
No, the best one. No, the best one's Zachary Levi. We'll talk
oh,
about that one later.
yeah,
Oh.
he
Yeah.
totally froze.
So
Tangled.
did you? So you met some voice actors. Did you do any panels or anything like that?
Did I like? You mean did
Mhm.
I attend them?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. I attended some panels. I attended the main panel with William Shatner.
Oh, how was that?
Um,
Yes.
that. Oh my God. It's like he is so well spoken and he is so intelligent and passionate and he's
Mm,
92 and he
Yeah.
doesn't look
no.
92 at all. He moves like a young man, he speaks like a young man, he has the agility with his speech of a young man. You wouldn't even think that this is a man his age. And he started off pretty light, but then he got into really serious issues about uh I won't use a buzzword here because I don't know what your comments look like on Twitch, but basically escalating heat, um, extreme heat,
Yeah.
rising temperatures, and he's very, very passionate about that. And
Or people need to be. It's December and it's 80
Yeah, this is
degrees
some
outside.
bullshit.
well, not
No.
here.
Well, at least you're not on fire currently.
Yeah,
Because California has
Yeah.
been the past few
true,
years just on fire. Like the whole thing.
true. Yeah, we call it
Yeah.
fire season.
It's got a
Actually,
season.
Oh.
That's Texas year round. I think we have 2 months of winter
we call it
and
fire
then the rest
season.
is summer. We don't get any other season in Texas.
It snowed in Texas
Oh,
once.
yeah, and we paid the
One time.
price.
The
Yeah, we paid the
snowpocalypse.
price. Hundreds of people died in their homes because we
Yeah,
couldn't keep the power on. It was bad. We were not prepared. It was like, oh, you
yeah,
thought you could just break the climate
yeah,
and we were going to be all right.
yeah,
We're going to be good. That's not how it
yeah.
works.
So, so yeah, just circling back
Hmm.
to William Shatner, he was just he's got a few things coming out actually. He's got a documentary called Just Call Me Bill. I believe that's what
Hmm.
it's called. He's got a song which is like a slam poetry reading called So Fragile, So Blue, which sort of recounts his experience going up into space because he went into space for
Yes.
real.
Oh, yeah.
If anyone remembers that, he went up into space
Yes.
for real. And he said that when he looked out into the darkness, he saw nothing. And you expect to see twinkling lights, galaxies. It's just black, just blackness. He's like, I saw death. He's like, and then I looked around and I saw Earth and I saw life and I saw what we were doing to the planet. And he just went on this, um, I don't want to say rant, but he went on this large speech that he just gave 100% in every answer that a guest asked, that a con goer asked, and he just took everything so seriously, and he's so much more than I ever thought he was, and it brought tears to my eyes, and he's a beautiful man. He's just super well spoken, and he really is like kind of like Captain Kirk, or what I
Mm.
imagine Captain Kirk was like. You know, he's a leader, and he's just so profoundly amazed with the world around him, just in a way that Captain Kirk might be. And I was blown away by him. He's just a magnificent person. So I just felt super blessed to be able to hear him speak. If anyone, if that con is recorded anywhere, you should listen to it. It's just beautiful. He's so he's remarkable, and it was such a blessing to hear him like at all. Um, there were other
Hmm.
panels as well on the main stage. I didn't really attend many of those, but there were like some panels here and there, like on the side. But what promised to be educational was more of just a discussion. So there would be things like, "Hey guys, this is a panel on making comics. This is what you need to do. This is how you get started." And the whole time they're just talking about, remember oh, when I made a comic? It's like,
It became
Yes.
yeah,
self-aggrandizing
How did you do
really
that?
quick. We
like,
came here
and
for the sauce,
it's like, yeah,
buddy,
that's a
not
great
your
point.
recipes you've already
Yeah,
made.
he's like, yeah, he's like, yeah, but yeah, and you mentioned that too. Like, how did you get started? Like, look, that's great. And if I came here to hear that, I'd love to hear that. But I want to know how big to make each square in my comic book panel. I want to know when to use the right inflections, when to use sound effects, what sound effects to use, who should I go to publishing? Like, what do I do?
Get me some
None of that.
nitty and
It
some
was just,
gritty, goddammit. I need them both.
yeah. Yeah, a lot of the panels were just conversations, which isn't that
Yeah.
crazy. I mean, they're panels, but a lot of the ones that promised that were advice things that were like, "Oh, we're going to give you
This is your TED
resources."
Talk
There's
for
a short film one I
creators.
went to.
Yeah.
Pretty
It was what it was
much.
supposed to
And
be.
it's like I went to one for
Mm-hmm.
making indie films on a budget. And I was like, that's super helpful. And that one was actually great because what they did was they gave you, this is the softwares you should use. This is the computers that are good. This is how we got our start. Let's talk about crowdfunding. Let's talk about raising a budget. How do you treat your actors? What should you do as a director? How do you know where to go, where to film? And it was super informative and super helpful. So if only all of them were like that, unfortunately, everybody's different. So they're not always going to be like that. But I mean, that one, that's probably the biggest takeaway of a panel that I got. Uh, I took notes, I got links, I got
That's awesome.
references. It was great. It's a great place to make connections, especially if
Cons
you're a
can definitely be
creator.
great
If
networking
you want to go
spaces.
for sure. I mean, not only with just other creators, but I mean, sometimes there are people who are there with their own booths and they're like, hey, I'm a voice actor. I'm this person. You're a really nice person. You're a really great person. And I want to continue this conversation. And then, they're like, oh, what do you do? Oh, I make comics. I am an actor. I am a voice actor. Here's my stuff. And they're like, really? Wow, that's pretty good. Maybe you should do this thing here. And it's it's a really great place to form connections. It's a really great place to
It
talk to
is.
people. And that's what I did. I made a lot of
That's
connections.
awesome.
It's great for any creator. I recommend that you
Mm-hmm.
create things before you go there. um but so that you have something to show people, because if I hadn't have made my comic book covers, then I'd be like, take my
Trust
word
me, I'm
for it.
good, bro.
I'm pretty
I
good.
got it.
uh,
You know,
I'm a pretty big deal around
I'm
here.
I'm a stunt actor.
no, I think
Yeah.
that's great
Yeah,
advice,
I
and I'm
mean,
glad that you were able to get some value from the con, as well as have that great insight
mhm,
into William Shatner and his views. And I assume seeing the planet from outside looking in
yeah.
really adds perspective to the fact that we have one of
Yeah.
these.
Well,
That's it.
yeah.
There's, yeah,
And he also said it was blue and beige. So it's like no longer
mm,
green.
That's not
It's
good.
like not it's not
little blue and green
our
dot.
you put on comic strips or you put on t-shirts, it's not like blue and green. He said it was a lot of
That's
beige. So
Mm,
that was very
yeah.
enlightening, you know.
Yeah,
we're
great.
cooking.
We took the most beautiful part of
Yeah.
our planet and just broke it. Way to go. Way to go, humans. Well, that's a good segue actually into
Well,
our next topic. And I want to get your perspective on
mm,
this. This week, it
sure.
seems, has been the week of humans are done. Artificial intelligence is here. And maybe they could figure out a
Mm,
solution. Maybe I could go into Chat GPT and say, how do we solve climate change? Because that thing can do anything.
yeah.
There's Lenza
Mm,
making
mm,
everybody's face picture perfect and making them into
mm,
whatever character that they want to be. Fantasy, post
right.
apocalyptic. I know you've seen the profile pictures, you've seen people
Mm,
sharing it on TikTok, on Instagram. The Lenza
hmm.
AI stuff is
Yeah.
everywhere. But Chat GPT also
Hmm.
went live and you can generate art with Dolly. You can concept art,
Hmm.
character art. You put in a couple
Hmm.
prompts and bam, you get something that is in the style of your favorite artist. You want an oil painting, you tell it to oil paint. You want it to be a Banksy style, it'll
Hmm.
give you something Banksy. Like AI, yeah, AI
Oh,
is insane with what it's creating now. I'm talking full term papers. This thing can write code in any language with just prompts. Yeah, no,
wow.
it's insane and dangerous. And
Wow.
it's dangerous, and artists are kind of
They're
divided on it.
they're
Yeah,
pretty
some
mad
are
about it.
saying, well,
Yeah.
now you don't need a copywriter or now you don't need an artist. You can just type in some prompts
Hmm.
in the style of, and bam, you get something that looks like that artist's work because it literally goes and mines all their work and then kind of amalgamates
Hmm.
what you're looking for based off your prompts. So
Yeah.
other artists are saying, hey, this is going to speed up my workflow. Sometimes I have an idea, but I want to see some examples.
Hmm.
Instead of having to sketch them all out, I can
Exactly.
just boom, generate these ideas that'll get my wheels turning.
Uh-huh.
Then I go to work.
Hmm.
So how do you feel
Yeah.
about having something that powerful as a tool as an artist? Do you think that would be a tool that you would use, or is it like going to take work
Hmm.
from you?
I think I think a little of both because corporations are not shy to take the
Nope.
easy way out when it comes to making art and making something with soul, which is something that they don't have. So I have seen a lot of division, especially I actually was looking through comment sections today, and it's a lot more heated than I
Yeah.
anticipated. Um, I think I think if you're just like fucking around and you're just like, oh, I want to see my selfie looks like an anime character. I think that's fun. I love doing that. I've been addicted to that app, My2 or Me
Mm-hmm.
My2. I think that shit is so fun. I got a ton of selfies. I'm like, whoa, look. But I'm not passing it off being like, I made this. This is my art. And I'm not advertising. I'm not displaying it like it's something that I
Mm-hmm.
created. It's just like, look, I use this app and it's cute. Because we've been using apps to modify our looks for years. It's nothing new. Artificial intelligence is nothing that's been just created in 2022. It's been a thing for a few years now. So I mean, we had TikTok filters on this before where it was like last selfie on Earth, and I was like, "Whoa, guys, check it out!" And that was fine. No one said anything about that. But because now they're calling it AI art, everyone's freaking out and they're like, "No, which I
Yeah.
agree. I mean, I'm also kind of divided on it because being an artist, I know that it takes a lot of work and it takes a lot of energy and a lot of time to make art. But then also with different AI generators, like I have an idea for
Mm-hmm.
a movie and it's a live action movie that I have an idea for. And I've made concept art for it, but it's not exactly what I see. So sometimes when you want something photorealistic and you can type that into an AI and you're like, oh, that's what I see in my brain. That is a little more helpful, at least to me. And I've used it a couple times. But I mean, for me, for my uses of it, it's been strictly curiosity. I think it's a testament to what we've created. I mean, with AI technology, but also, yeah, I mean, the thing with commissioning someone is that usually people will commission for personal things. I mean, at least normal people day to day that aren't part of large
Yeah.
corporations, like, I don't know, Jack in the Box or whatever. When they want something like, oh, this is my dog and he's got a birthmark on his eye or he's got a birthmark on his arm and I want us sitting together like this. And it's like you can show them the picture and you can get exactly what you want. Whereas AI, you can get something close, but ultimately, especially if you're an artist, if you want to see what's exactly in your head, then you draw it. And that's where I think the difference is between art and AI
Yes.
art. Whereas AI art can give you a general idea of what you want, but you can talk to a person and a person's not going to glitch out and be like, here's an orange peel. Here's a
with six
person with,
fingers.
Yeah,
yeah,
it is
exactly. I was
also
just going to say that.
proof
Here's
that
a
hands
person
are
with,
just fucking hard to draw. Because if supercomputers can't get it right, like there's
hmm
no hope for the rest of
yeah.
us. There's no hope unless you're.
Well, that's the thing too. I've commissioned dancing scenes for different concept art scenes that I have, and it just can't really compute a face very well, especially on such a
Yeah.
specific scale. So maybe in like the near future of like 20 years or 10 years, maybe it will advance more so it can be more specific. But I think for the time being, it's not specific enough to what some
Hmm.
people want. And and there sometimes is an art style that hasn't been created yet, so the AI can't use that technology and it can't use that information to create more,
Yes.
because as generations go on, there are more art styles that are going to be created. So I mean, yeah, it might take it once it uses it and just use that information, but ultimately, I think I've heard some things that like people are calling themselves AI artists, and it's just like I think to be an artist, you are creating something out of
Yeah.
nothing, and you are creating it. And it could be any form of media that is an art, but you are creating something that didn't exist before you thought of it, or before you put your hand to something and made it exist. I think that's what art is. I think it could be anything. It could be clothing. It could be, I mean, even if it's been mimicked, it's never going to be exactly what
Yeah.
you make. It's never what you make is going to be exactly unique to you.
That
Yeah, just like you said, you're going to
So,
see the artist's soul, their mind, their eye, everything in their
yep.
artwork.
yeah. So I think definitely, depending on the people who use it for that, if I don't think people should not hire artists for professional work. But I think, like I said, if you want to just fuck around and be like, what would Morticia look like if she was blonde? You know, it's like, it's just such little stuff that just satisfies your own curiosity. That's like, I don't know how
Yeah.
to draw that, and I don't know how to blah blah blah. So this is just a quick thing that I think if it's just satisfying your curiosity, I
Yeah.
enjoy it.
Yeah.
I think it's cool. But I'm not gonna waltz around and be like, I made this.
I think it's akin
I'll
to
be like,
the
check
way it
out what.
was when the internet first started. Like people were worried that
Yeah.
this was going to ruin industries and destroy everything when really people just used it as a tool, and most people use it to fuck around and create memes and viral videos. So
Hmm.
I think
Hmm.
AI is going to be no different. They're going to create AI generated memes, or they're going to mash up shit together, and that's going to be the majority of the use.
Yeah.
Is literally, like you said, just fucking around and seeing, I wonder what you'd look like with an extra leg.
Yeah.
So I,
Hmm.
I, I think that's a very good take on it, and yeah, that's awesome. But now we can kind of transition from that into real art, I guess. Again, with Trey told me that they dropped a Super Mario trailer, a second one,
I believe that was
because
last
the
week.
first one was so
Yeah.
well received.
Yeah.
We got our first look at Peach and
Luigi
Luigi.
too.
Oh, yeah. And then there was a
Yeah.
little Mario Kart reference, which I'm super excited about.
Really? I don't think I've seen the second trailer, all of it. I know Charlie Day
Mm-hmm.
voices Luigi
Oh,
though,
yes.
which which I love Charlie Day, but that's again a really weird choice.
I think
I
it's,
mean,
I was very hesitant with the first trailer, even with
Mm-hmm.
Chris Pratt. But even the second
mhm.
trailer, though, like, I think it's going to be a hit.
And you know what? The animation just trumps the voice acting, I think.
I
And I
also
think
think,
if it
oh,
was,
sorry.
yeah. Oh, that's okay. I think if it was shitty, I think if the animation was shitty, then I
All
think the
hell
voice
would break
acting would
loose.
be
Oh, yeah.
really
Yes.
roasted. But because it's so nice, it looks so great. It's unlike any other Mario content I've seen. Um, I don't know. I mean, I guess the Luigi thing isn't too far off. I think it would be really off if they just used normal Luigi and then they just kept Mario as Chris
Yeah, that
Pratt.
would not
Yeah.
make sense.
That would be off.
That wouldn't.
That would be weird. So I guess in this universe it does
Yeah.
make sense.
I think Jack Black is going to carry that whole film, though. He's going to be this. He's going to steal the
Oh
show.
yeah.
There's no doubt
Yeah.
about
Like
it.
Jim Carrey in the
There's
Sonic
there's no
movies.
Oh,
doubt
yeah.
about it. Exactly. Jim Carrey and
Oh
Sonic was
yeah.
phenomenal. The Idris Elba,
Oh
his
yeah.
comedic timing,
Oh,
God tier. God tier. Took
Yeah.
a serious
And
character and made him funny.
he's he's just vacant enough in his voice acting to be
Yes.
Knuckles. I
Yes. I
think.
think
He's just Stonewall enough to be
it was so
Knuckles.
good. That whole film and that whole franchise so far has been just nailing it. So I hope they keep up with that consistency and doing that. But also, speaking of franchises, Trey, you wanted to speak a little bit about
oh
Willow.
Lord.
And
Oh,
hold on,
yeah.
I'm gonna find a soapbox for you because I know you got some words.
Okay. I'm going to
No,
keep
the
it
floor
short and
is yours,
sweet.
sir.
I'm gonna try not to sound like a cranky old timer. I'm gonna really try. I'm such a huge fan of the 1988 film. Like I love it. That was one of my favorite fantasy films growing up. And they came out with this new show. Very excited about seeing the images, seeing the cast that they brought back for it. And then when they released the first two episodes, it still didn't sell me. I liked it a lot, but I could definitely tell they're
Mm,
definitely pushing this towards a younger audience, and that's great.
mm,
But then with this last episode, like it just solidified it for me. It's like, yeah, this is not for me. I like these characters
mm,
still, but this show's not for me. And what mainly sold it for me was the song choices they use for like the end credits and the beginning credits. I was like, this doesn't fit, in my opinion, for like a fantasy film or a fantasy series.
mm.
Did they have
That's just me.
bangers? Is that what it was? They had a couple bangers in there, and you're like, no, this is too boppy.
They had this
Like
Yeah, this is
trendy.
too
they had
hip.
this cool scene. Cool scene. I'm trying to do not
Hmm.
spoilers, but like where Willow, our hero, is like going towards this like huge, dark, brooding castle, and they start playing like heavy metal, Enter Sandman by Metallica, and I'm just like, I love that song. I love Willow. I would have never put those
That
two
doesn't
together.
sound like it
Ever.
goes. That,
It doesn't. In my
Um,
opinion,
for, Forgive me. What is Willow?
you are
Willow
not
is.
alone,
Are you
Allie. You
familiar
are
with
not
actor
alone.
Warwick Davis?
Yeah, you didn't clear anything up.
I didn't clear anything up. Okay. He was the Leprechaun. He was Professor Flitwick in the Harry Potter series.
Oh,
Yeah, he's a
Okay.
star.
But yeah, it was
oh, so
like
it's a
He's a
Harry
star
Potter
of a
thing.
very old,
it's kind of
80s movie. Is it 80s?
a lot of yeah, it was the 80s.
Wild time.
A lot of people joke
Oh.
like Peter Jackson wouldn't be able to do Lord of the Rings without Willow, and I'm like, okay,
That's
that's a
an
bit of a stretch,
extreme
but
stretch.
That Willow, that was a book series.
yes,
Yeah, it's
The Lord of the Rings was a
yeah,
book series.
exactly. And it had an
I think people
animated
forget that
series
too.
to go off of also.
no, exactly.
And
Well, it
great
had an
art
animated
from Alan
movie
Lee
off
to
it.
just concept. So
It's worth a watch. I will say that the movie's worth a watch. The show, I'm going to leave that to the youngins.
Yeah, I know scattered knowledge about most things, but I haven't indulged in literally
one.
everything. I know it seems
There's 3
crazy.
people on Earth that have seen Willow.
I was,
so you're not alone. Don't worry.
and
Trey
Trey's
is
one
one
of
of
them.
them.
Yeah, I have no life, so I watch a lot of TV and movies. So
He is
yeah,
always our like
I
obscure
do as
guy.
well.
Like it's always Trey when it's like
Yeah.
Trey, what's that thing from the 80s that it's a movie with the kid from Karate Kid and he'll like, oh, I got it.
Yeah,
He was like, oh yeah, that was
the
Usually,
outside.
I mean, that's me too.
yeah.
Usually,
This even obscure
yeah. There's
for
just
you.
like certain things like that just was not in my perimeter. Like Harry Potter, like I was one of those kids that my mom was like, it's witchcraft, so I wasn't allowed to watch
she
it.
saved you from it.
But she made. I mean, I'm not like a Harry Potter adult now, so I'm
Yeah, I
like
think
pretty
that
cool
makes you
with
stable.
it. I think that's okay. I mean, I've watched them
Yeah.
now. I've seen them now. I think I watched them when I was maybe
Yeah.
like 18
Yeah.
or 19. But it was just like it hits a lot harder, I think,
Yeah.
when you're a kid, and when it's really.
Thank you.
I think it
That's
hits a lot
literally
harder
what
when
me and
it's
Trey
the
were
buzz.
fighting about before the show. I was like, dude, you liked it because you were a kid. Trust me, my kids even thought it was lame.
No, saying that, I
Yeah.
get your point. I really do. But to me, if
I
you're
like
a fan,
Harry Potter. I like
if you're
it.
a fan of fantasy in general, just the fantasy genre,
Mhm.
you need to watch this movie. And then at that time, there were a lot of effects. Like me as a filmmaking fan, like there's a lot of effects that they did in that film that were ahead of its time. That really just brought the
Mhm.
magic to life of these characters. So it's worth a
Wait,
watch.
are you talking about Willow or Harry
And
Potter?
and
Because
it's
we were shitting on
again.
Harry Potter.
Willow.
Oh, we're talking
Yeah,
about Harry
dude.
Potter.
Oh, Harry Potter. I'm sorry. That will fall on deaf ears. I love
He's a Harry Potter adult.
And
He
Yeah.
is the adult you just
Yes.
described.
Yeah,
It's Trey.
yeah. I'm not like gonna name my kid Voldemort.
No,
I'm not gonna
Trey,
name my
Trey
kid
calls us
like
muggles behind our back.
Albus.
Like, he.
no, 100%.
That's okay. I am a Muggle. I'm a Muggle through and through.
Oh man.
It's a shame, but
No,
I am.
it's not a shame. You're an amazing.
I'm
muggle.
not magical.
Lies. I'm not
I'm
buying
afraid.
it. No, I can't look at your art and say you're not magical. That's some bullshit. I'm calling it. I'm pulling the BS card right out of my pocket here. Flag on the play.
Sure. I mean, maybe I just want you to think I'm a Muggle. I mean, obviously, I can't just tell you I'm a
Shit,
wizard.
right? That would be some.
I mean, that goes against.
That can't just be public knowledge. You would be harassed constantly. The FBI would be at your door.
I know.
You don't not.
People call me up at the mall. I gotta sign
You don't
autographs.
want
It's
that.
a whole
Then you'll be like
thing.
Ron Perlman. You'll just be like, oh, why am I here?
Am I
So
here?
beneath me. Ugh.
Muggles.
And it's a shame too because I loved him in Hellboy.
He's
But you know
phenomenal
what?
in
I
Hellboy.
think that just as a side note, I think that bitterness did come from the fact that he wanted a third one really bad, and they were like, "You're old."
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And we're gonna get David Harbour and just remake them. So I understand where that bitterness comes from.
Yeah.
I do. But I follow him on Twitter for so long, and he's one of those like boomers that just like or like Gen X or Gen what is
Yep.
he Gen X? It's like he just rants on political. He just writes in all caps political issues, and I'm like, I like you because you're
Yes.
a Hellboy. Like why? Let's talk about
Yeah.
Hellboy.
Share
let's
some
talk
BTS
about-
The
photos,
behind the
please.
scenes.
Yeah, you're. yeah, answer some questions. Like, why does it have to be so aggressive? Why does it have to be so scary? Just just be fun,
He goes
you
full
know?
Sons of
And
Anarchy on his
and
Twitter.
they oh, he cusses like he cusses
Yeah,
like a
he
sailor.
does.
And to be fair, I mean, it's not uncommon, but it's like, I don't know. It's one of those like don't meet your heroes kids. Like one
Yeah,
of those.
yeah. We've
You're just like, I like Hellboy. Let's keep
yeah.
it that way.
We've had a
You
couple
know,
of those.
Guillermo del Toro seems
Oh,
nice though.
I imagine he's like the sweetest chubby man. He just looks like a.
I've DM'd him
Oh,
one
did
time.
you?
I used to run a I used to run a Hellboy 3 account on Twitter to promo the movie to like really be like,
Get
"Hey
it
guys,
going.
Hellboy 3." And he followed me and Ron Perlman followed me and I like sent a picture of a Funko Pop of Guillermo del Toro to Guillermo del Toro. And he was like I was like, "This is how you know you made it." And he was like, "Wow, so nice."
Oh,
So
that's so
cool.
sweet. Oh,
I
Yeah.
cannot wait to see his Pinocchio comes out tomorrow. His new stop
yes, it
motion
comes out
film.
Oh,
on
that's
streaming
right.
services tomorrow, so that's definitely one I'm gonna watch.
Why do they keep trying to do Pinocchio?
It's
I
public
don't know.
IP.
Why
Well,
is
'cause
It's
I
why
think
is
public
that a
domain.
thing?
yeah,
So
it's public IP.
you could make a Pinocchio film.
Oh.
Let's get in on it.
I am.
It's
I'm doing
AI
it right
generated.
now.
Yeah, it's public
It's
domain. So
yeah, it's
people,
starring
you're
the
gonna
whole
get
Harry
three
Potter
more
cast.
Pinocchios next year. So,
Exactly. We got Pinocchio, Disney,
oh,
the OG. We got that weird one with RuPaul. Or what's his name? Not RuPaul. Pauly Shore. Look, shit, I'd watch one with
hell yeah, I
RuPaul.
would. RuPaul's amazing.
Pauly Sh- Pauly
Oh,
Shore. And he goes, "When am I gonna go on my own?"
Be a real
your
boy.
knowledge of abstract film is just blowing my mind right now. You and Trey, y'all have so much in common. It's
Oh,
hilarious.
that is the tip of the
I
iceberg, my friend. That is
I
the tip
bet
of
if
the
it's
iceberg.
anything like Trey's knowledge, I'm just like, what the fuck do you do all day, man? Are you reading IMDb? Or you're on the
Consume.
toilet just scrolling through people's.
I think
That
it's a I think it's just a matter of
Yeah,
memory. I think it's just some things
yeah.
stick, and I could read something once, but if it sticks in my brain, then I'm gonna
That
remember it. And then people are like, "How do you know that? How do you remember?" I'm like, "Look, I wish I knew.
if I
I
could
wish I
tell you,
remembered
I
important
would.
things like people's.
listen,
I wish I
Muggle.
Listen,
could.
Muggle.
I would. I wish I could remember names. I wish I could remember important events and
No,
dates, like the Louisiana
but that's
Purchase
not
or
my
something.
superpower.
But look, I just don't. Okay, it's IMDb up
That's
here
awesome.
for movies and animals.
That's freaking awesome. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
My brother is just chiming away.
Let him
Yeah,
go
I think he
off.
said
Let him
Ron
go off.
Perlman was racist, or somebody was.
That wouldn't
Somebody's a
surprise me.
bum. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all.
No, I don't think he is because his wife is
Yeah,
black.
that's true.
So
I think he was talking about Guillermo.
Guillermo's right. No, no, that
oh
man is sweet.
Because something
oh
you
no no
said,
no. I
Juan,
think
it's
they're
What? What
something
did
talking
I
that you
about.
say?
said. You said because he
I
hasn't
think
casted any Hispanic male leads, he's
You're right.
racist.
You're right.
You
I
planted
did.
that
I
as
is
did.
a
something.
I did
Hispanic
say
male.
that. I was criticizing Guillermo del Toro. I love his directing style. I think he's
What?
great. But
Yeah,
the fact
got
that
a great
he's
aesthetic.
had so many huge features and not one lead Hispanic casting rubs me the wrong way. It
Hmm.
rubs me. If Robert Rodriguez can do it right out the gate, like you, Mr. Guillermo
True.
del Toro, should have some clout to be like, I want a brown man in my film. Front and center.
Yeah.
His career's not
Yeah,
over.
but now everybody's doing it. Thanks to Tinoch, we're all in the door now. He kicked that door down as Namur, and we're in. There's no keeping us out now. He's holding the
True.
door for everybody. He showed we can make $1 billion
Yeah.
easy. Black and brown, baby. We're putting color on screen.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I've definitely heard that about like Tim Burton because he said that like black people don't fit his aesthetic. So I have heard that about him, but I haven't heard anything about
yeah.
Guillermo del
Well, he had a
Toro.
nice diverse cast
I
for the
mean,
Wednesday show. There was black, brown all
oh,
Oh, yeah,
over. It looked like a United Nations
definitely.
tour.
oh, is
Yeah.
that his?
Yeah, that's
Is
Oh
that
yeah.
serious.
his?
He
Oh my
wrote it.
God.
Yeah,
Well, good for
he
him. That's really
yeah,
blowing up
he
right
is
now.
destroying all of Netflix. So it's awesome.
Good for
But
him. Honestly, I really like him. I think he's I don't know much about
yeah,
him
I think we
personally,
only
like
can
as a
judge their
person,
work.
but I think he's just I think he's a hard worker who's putting out his art and he's putting out his work.
Yep.
And there's, everyone's a critic. There's always going to be something
Yeah.
to criticize. But I mean, overall, he's put out some great movies. And yeah, they may not always be original ideas, but he brings them to life. And that's what a good director does,
in his
Yep.
They
style.
He
bring,
has a very signature
yeah,
style, and he
yeah,
pulls it off so well. He's true to himself. So I like to watch it. Now,
yeah,
speaking of something that
yeah.
isn't going so well, to kind of bring the show down
Oh
in a
gosh.
bad way, DCEU don't know what's going on with that. Apparently, there is no longer a Wonder
Right.
Woman film. Things are getting scrapped. Movies are probably not
Oh.
happening. Castings, we have a release slate, kind
Mm,
of, but now they don't know if they're moving forward with a Man of Steel 2. The Rock, as big a event as he tried to make of Black Adam, did lose about $100 million. So it's a lot of money and it's a sting. Um, so
I think he's doing
I
okay.
don't
I
think
think he'll
he's
still
gonna
Oh
be
yeah.
cry
He'll,
about it. I even think they're having a spinoff that was announced of Black Adam.
he can pay the
Yeah, he's
bills.
Look, he
the lights
might.
are not gonna shut off on
I
him.
mean,
But
yeah, right.
yeah,
I mean, he was pretty upset at the whole Jungle Cruise thing when they released it on Disney
yeah,
Plus, and they released it the same day in
hmm
theaters. That was a pretty big deal for him because he didn't see any of that money because it was released
yeah.
on Disney Plus. Same for
Scarlett
they
Johansson,
did that to
they
another
did that
movie.
with Black Widow,
They did that to
and they
Black
didn't
Widow.
pay her
They just
what she was due because it didn't come out in theaters. They ended up making that right though because the
yeah, there's no
internet
box office.
flipped out and really went after Disney, so they paid her what she
Yeah.
was worth.
They're like, I
Yeah,
guess we'll
and she's now
pay
directing the
her.
next. I think either I forgot what project she's directing, but she's directing a Marvel project now. So
Hmm.
yeah,
Oh,
she's gonna be getting her hands all in there. They gave her a position, they gave her the money she was worth, and so she's
Marvel's getting their shit together. DC can't seem to get their
no,
shit together for the past 10 years at least.
yeah.
you know what though? Joker was fantastic.
Ah,
I loved
agree
Joker.
to disagree. My brother says they need to crash so Disney can buy them, but I did not like Joker for the simple fact, and
Well,
this is me, a
you're
comic book purist. It's not the film movie.
that's it.
Mm,
That's
Yeah,
the reason. You're a
my comic book
purist.
purist says I don't want to know Joker's origin story. The beautiful thing of this
mm.
myth that is the Joker is that no one knows his origin. Like that was cool for 60
It's not
years. Yeah, it
confirmed.
was so many different variants and he's always telling a different story cuz he's so screwed up. You're not
Yeah,
even sure he knows or remembers a time before he
yeah,
was this thing called the Joker. But my brother said it was Taxi
yeah.
Cab 2. Yeah, it was pretty much the movie Taxi Cab just with face paint. But
Wow. Well, I haven't seen Taxi Cab, so I can't
okay.
attest to
If you
that.
watch
I thought
yeah, if
I
you
was
watch
old.
Taxi Cab, it's an 80s movie. It's literally the Joker before the Joker. It's the same film, same director.
I know the show Taxi with Danny DeVito. I know that. I know the show. Is that
No,
the
I think
same?
it's the same director who did Taxi Cab, and it is the
Well,
same film just for a
I
new
look
generation.
It's not the same
No,
director.
Trey would
to
know.
put a different perspective for you. To put a different perspective for you, at least
Yeah,
for the Joker. Just look. I mean, his first media was Adam West, right? I mean, that was
it
corny as
was.
hell.
Hmm?
I mean, anyone's iteration, it's really up to them. I mean, look at Spider-Man. He's got so many different origin stories. If one is confirmed or if we see one, it does not necessarily means it's the origin
Yeah.
story. I mean, look at Jack Nicholson's Batman or Jack
hmm
Nicholson's Joker. I mean, he fell into a vat of acid, whereas Joaquin Phoenix, he just went nuts because of social degradation. He just went nuts because he was treated poorly, which is truthfully what happens. I mean, people go nuts because they're isolated from society and they're constantly degraded and made fun of. And at a certain point, some people just crack,
Yep.
and that's just
I
what
wonder if
happened
that
to him.
movie would have hit
And he just so
different
happens,
during a pandemic when people weren't able to kind of leave and they were stuck inside with their thoughts. I wonder how that movie would have hit at
yeah.
that time.
But it's not only that, but it was a comment on the classes
Yep.
because his whole thing was like, if I was shot dead in the street, you would step over me, you'd
hmm
laugh at me, but because this guy got killed and he was a rich guy, you care. And that was his whole message. He was more of like a social
Yes.
activist, I think. And then he just so happened to kind of cut loose and lose the plot a little bit and just go nuts. But it's like, even if it shows his origin story, it's not the origin story. Because, I mean, if that's the case, then you can just throw out all the other Jokers out the window. And you don't have any animated Jokers, you don't have video game Jokers, comic book Jokers, other, even just crossover Jokers, like even just mention of the Joker. There's no one Joker. That's the beauty of having so many iterations of one character, is that if you don't like what they did with something,
Yeah,
you have
Go
something
watch
to fall
another
DC
one.
back on.
multiverse.
Yeah.
You just hop
You
into a
ha-
different one.
exactly, and they've done that with
Oh, we
Batman
have two
forever.
active
I mean, look at
Batmans
how many.
right now.
Exactly. I mean, and one could say I hated Christian Bale Batman. I loved Adam West Batman. He was the best one because he didn't take himself seriously, and he focused on taking care of business, and he liked
And he
cracking
had better
jokes and solving
gadgets.
mysteries, and he was an actual detective.
Yes. Which made me love Robert Pattinson's Batman. We finally got a real good detective.
Yeah.
Oh.
And to be fair, I can touch a lot more on the Joker than I can with Batman because, to be honest, I've seen more like animated Batman content than
Same.
I've seen live action Batman
That's where
content.
Same.
The
DC
only
shines,
DC's
really, is their
animated
animated
storytelling
films.
is
animation.
second to none. If
Yes.
they would just adapt that
Yeah.
formula and tell those stories properly in a live action format, we have two
Mhm.
titans of comic book films. Marvel and DC would be neck and neck because they have the
Mhm.
superior characters,
Yeah.
superior arcs. In animated series, oh my god, Justice League, Dark, you have the Apocalypse War, like so many animated DC films
Yeah.
that if made live action, I'd lose my shit. My head would explode.
I think that's the beauty, like, of what DC's doing that Marvel really is trying to do with their expanding net of different
Mhm.
mediums and realms and universes. Is DC, you can have this spin-off of Joker with Joaquin, and then you can have Heath
Mhm.
Ledger, you can have Jared Leto,
Mhm.
and like it or not, you that's your Joker. It's like your
Yeah.
brand of pizza. Everybody loves
Mhm.
pizza, but maybe you like deep dish, maybe you
Maybe
like
you
thin
like
crust.
pineapples on it. Some sadist
Mhm.
you
But at the
are.
end of the day, we can all agree we like Joker.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a good character that you can play with, just like cosplay.
Mm.
You know, you can take that character and you can make it your own, which is what DC does. I mean, maybe a little too often, but I
We gotta
mean,
have some cohesive continuity
but
here.
Yeah,
there's got to be a bottom
Yes.
line somewhere, I
Yes.
think.
we need a Kevin
But
Feige.
I mean,
They got a
yeah.
James Gunn now.
So personally, I think my Joker will always be Heath Ledger.
That
That's my Joker. That's the one I grew up
Same.
with.
him,
My Batman
him
will
and Mark
be
Hamill are neck and
always
neck for
Christian
me
Bale.
as far as Jokers.
Yep.
They are.
Well, he's a different world. That's a
Yeah.
different animal though, because he's
Yes.
animated.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, if we're talking animated, I mean there have been so many different animated Jokers too. I mean, not only animated in TV series and
Video
movies, but
games.
also video
Yes.
games.
Yep.
So I mean, there's Telltale games, and that Joker is completely different than Joaquin Phoenix's or Heath Ledger's. So it's like it's kind of like Darkwing too, like Robin and Darkwing, like
Nightwing.
or Dark. What's
Nightwing.
his name? Dark Knight.
Nightwing.
Darkwing Duck.
Yeah,
You know, same thing.
They're all in the
Same
same
thing.
area.
But it's like you can take the Teen Titans Robin and you can take the Teen Titans Go Robin, and it's like you can't look at them as
Yeah.
the same person because
Yes.
they're not. And they just decided to take one character and have
Yeah.
fun with it. And I don't think it's meant to be canon. I think it's meant to be like, this is a character that we're playing around with, and don't take him seriously because this
And they
doesn't
do that
mean
a lot in the
anything.
comics.
You
So
know,
I think
like
that's what they're trying to do, just not. I don't think they're executing as well. The Joker was a success.
they break the fourth
Batman
wall a
was
little too
a
much.
success, but I don't think they've had a steady stream
Yeah.
of successes. You've had your Shazams here, your Aquaman, which was a breakout hit, surprisingly to everybody. But
Yeah.
they do it awesomely in print and in animated. Now, if they could just figure out the live action, then we can have the variety and still
Yeah.
have something cohesive to kind of ground us.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And I prefer Marvel just because they have more of an altogether story that follows a timeline of events. Where sometimes it's a little much. Where it's like, okay, I didn't see fucking the second Thor, so now I don't know who this person is. Or I didn't see the second Captain America, so now who is this person who came out of nowhere and everyone gasps and it's a huge reveal and I don't know who it is. Sometimes that gets a
yeah.
little old. But with DC, sometimes it's a little too scattered. And it's like I don't consider anything in the DC universe as part of the same
Yeah.
universe. Whereas in Marvel, it's
It's
all
connected.
one
It's
universe.
cohesive.
And it's all whereas it literally may not be in the same universe, like
Yeah.
Multiverse of Madness, it's still within the
Multiverse.
same like these characters can yeah, it's in the multiverse, so it's within the same, they can still
Yeah.
talk to each other and there's still a
Yep.
possibility of them meeting. But in DC, I'm never like Adam West is gonna meet Heath Ledger. Like that's never a
Yeah.
thing. That's not
Yeah.
a
But I
thing. I
think, like
mean,
you said, they
mainly
are
because they are
struggling.
both
And
not
my
with us
brother makes a
anymore,
good
but
point. I think they keep going back to the well one too many times. So they get a hit and then they try to quickly release a follow up to that hit.
That's what
And Wonder
studios
Woman
do. They
2
want to. They want to.
was a consequence of that. It wasn't as well fleshed out and thought out as it could have
mhm.
been. It seemed a little rushed.
Yeah.
Same thing with Justice League following up Batman v Superman. Like they wanted to get those three in a film again and get it. And they were so focused on getting it out that I don't think they looked at it and said, "Do we have something good to even tell here?" So hopefully they can fix that.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is how I wanted to end the show because you've had such great insight on everything we've discussed. Ali, you are awesome to talk to, and I could talk to you all night, but I do not want to keep you anymore because we've been on here for an hour and a half. You were nice enough to still make it work, even though Trey, somebody kind of didn't convey the proper start time. But hey, we're not pointing fingers here, Trey. Yeah, I thank you. Where can people find you? I'm gonna put your handle up on the screen so they know where to get you on Instagram. But where can people find you? TikTok, YouTube, wherever. Where are you?
You can find me on TikTok. I posting content on there. The whole world sees it. It's very intimidating. Stuff can blow up on TikTok. I do have quite a large following on TikTok, but I don't produce content very often. So you can find me on TikTok, but you can find me on Instagram. I have an art page, which again I haven't posted on a long time. So it's my Instagram's more of a personal thing. But I mean, I like posting art. Hey, if you want to follow me for my art, by all means. It's my handle is what you said in the beginning of this was artist12325. Doesn't the numbers don't mean anything. It's just like not 12345 because that was
Damn.
taken.
Oh.
Yeah.
That was prolific
So,
as you
numbers don't
promised.
mean
That was as
anything.
prolific as you promised in the opening. You said there was a great story behind it, and
Yeah.
there was. 4 was taken. You nailed it.
I mean, it was taken. Oh, you mean the
Yeah,
numbers
I
part?
thought.
Because I was
Yeah, I
like, well,
thought
it's
you meant
pretty,
like, oh, there's a cool story
pretty
behind
clear.
it, and then it was like, yeah, 4 was taken, so I just
Yeah.
put a 2 there.
It was taken. It just, I don't know. It's been my everything
Yeah.
for so long.
Stick
I
with
just
it.
keep it. I think it's been my handle since I was
It
like
brought you to the
13.
race.
I've had that Instagram for a long
Yeah,
ass
it brought you
time.
to the race. So ride that horse out. But I do want to thank you for your time,
Yeah, I mean, shoot.
and thank you for
Yeah.
being yes.
By the way, just want to let you guys know. I mean, I do storyboard work too. So if any executives are watching,
Holla.
I do concept art, I do storyboard art, and it's not artificially
Nope.
created.
100% authentic, straight from the brain.
It's Ali-officially
Ali
created.
Fish.
Ooh.
And on that,
You
that's
can
it.
trademark that
Trademark
right
patent
now.
pending. On that, we end it. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in, watching, listening. We are out.